Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs.
Welcome to episode 49, 3 tips to make the most of your year. In this episode, you will learn about the 3 tips that will create momentum and fulfillment throughout your year. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about 3 tips to make the most of your year.
Yeah, so we're going to cover 3 different things that if you do these and you focus on these, it's going to create a lot of momentum in pretty much every area of your life. And as you know, in this podcast episode, as we talk about, we believe in momentum. And once you have it on your side, it makes everything else easier.
Yeah, it will be really smooth. The big thing first off is to say that you don't need a new year to start a new day or a new moment. But this kind of goes with the season of the new year just around the corner. So we wanted to bring this to you.
Exactly. So anytime you're watching this, say you're rewatching this midway through the year or 2 months in, you could always start fresh and create a new year. I wouldn't advise to keep on doing that over and over, but just realize that, we made up the months and days. Like really, time is just time.
That's true.
So let's go ahead and start with number 1 of these 3 tips. And it is, we're going to go ahead and say travel, but depending on how much you've traveled last year, because I think that every human should focus on progress. Say you haven't traveled to a new city ever in years, travel to at least one new city. And for you, if that means a new city in your state, that's okay. But just get out and travel more than what you've done the previous year.
Yeah. Travel is so beneficial because it lets you see through your eyes totally different, and you get new perceptions of different places, people, and things, and it makes you appreciate where you're from even when you come back home. And I think that's what this is all about, is to appreciate what's in front of you, but also the new places that are around you too.
Exactly. And it's like what you hear everybody who travels, what they say that it's the best education I've ever received. And I can honestly say it's up there with the best education that I've received is through traveling. Because I know me personally, when I'm on road trips or even flying or just going to a different location, wherever it may be, my mind starts to get more creative. I start to tap into higher frequencies, and I start to feel like probably how a bird feels when the bird's flying. Yeah. Like I'm free and I'm moving. Because I know some people are probably like me, to where if you stay in one city or one location too long, you start to feel stagnant and things start to feel stale. Like everything becomes predictable, and with predictability, it breeds boredom, I feel.
Yeah, and if you're bored, then you could start thinking that you have more problems than you actually have.
Right.
You can create more problems if you're bored.
Oh, and you do.
I'm never bored. Like, I remember when I was little, I used to say, I'm so bored. But really, it wasn't boredom. It was just, I wasn't using my energy.
Lack of hobbies.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me the other day I get bored, or they were telling me they get bored. I'm like, honestly, I never get bored. If I do a moment of it, I have like 40 different hobbies that I love doing, and I just go do one of those, and then it starts to shift the energy. Right. Yeah, do you feel like doing the hobby in that moment of boredom or, feeling stagnant? No, you don't feel like it, but you just got to know consciously, I need to go to one of these outlets and, shake things up a little bit. Traveling is a great way to do that, actually.
And number 2 is to volunteer in your field. So actually out of your field, right?
Or in your field or out. I would say wherever you're pulled to volunteer.
Right.
Like me personally, we volunteer at that Camp Circle of Love. We missed it last year, but every year pretty much we volunteer for the last, 6 years, 5 years? I think you've been like a decade almost.
Yeah.
But it's a camp to where we're with kids, and they've had people pass away in their lives, and it's just like a grieving camp, but it's really a lot of fun. Like we do a lot of great activities. Lindsay and I, being teachers, we love it. So it's in our field, and I feel like we get a lot of fulfillment from it because it's aligned with who we are as people. So I would say volunteer in something like that aligns with you in whatever way.
Yeah, whatever you feel pulled to. If you feel intuitively like you need to be around more dogs, go and volunteer at the Humane Society or a shelter or whatever it may be. You don't have to wait till Thanksgiving to volunteer at a soup kitchen either. And I think that's very common where they're overcrowded at different points. So use your intuition to guide you in, okay, I feel like I need something in my life right now. Like I need something to shift. Volunteer. And I would start your new year off right by doing that. And maybe you can even set up times where each month you know that you're going to go and seek out some place to volunteer, because they are always needing people to give back. And I think, and it really fills up your own soul when you're giving.
It is. It's a law of nature, and you'll hear about it a lot. People say it in different ways, but you receive by giving.
Yes.
That's how you receive.
And I think adding that into other parts of people's day when they're working would benefit so many more people when they're working, because so many people are not happy with their job.
They're not.
And if they could add volunteering in, they'll actually have outlets to use their energy, but also they'll create a new job for themselves.
A lot of times that happens.
It ends up happening where you connect with the most amazing people that are in the same energy of giving. You should see what happens when you actually volunteer. You'll meet people that, without even wanting it to happen, you'll meet connections for future upcoming things for yourself.
Absolutely, because most people, and I'll say most people that I've met when I do volunteer, they are great people. Like they're not perfect people, but they're great. Like they're like business owners that own like several different business. Like they're unique people. They're like athletes. They're ex-athletes. The one guy that we met, Mike's Pies.
Oh yeah.
Like I would buy his pies because Lindsay likes key lime pie. And I'm sitting there, this dude is the most humble guy you could ever meet. I never would, he's just wearing plain clothes.
He could have been wearing fancy clothes.
No,
too.
it doesn't matter either. I'm just saying, like, everyday people that you meet, he's just a normal guy. And you get to talk to him, and I'm like, what do you, he's asked me what I do. I'm like, I'm a teacher, la la la. And I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I sell pies. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, you sell pies at the carnival? He's like, oh, no, Mike's Pies. He's like, like in the grocery store? And like my heart dropped. I'm like, dude, I've been buying your pies for the last couple of years.
And
but it's funny, the
connections
too. Yeah. And then it's like, you network with so many great people. And not only that, it creates this, like I said from the beginning, this huge momentum in your life. It's a huge energy burst, just how traveling is.
Right.
So should we go to number 3?
Yes, number 3. This is the most important one. Don't be afraid of change. This is so easy to get sucked into, where you're afraid of change or you're afraid to change because of what people knew you to be years ago, or what you're used to working as because you've been doing it for 20 years and you're 5 years away from retirement or 10 years away from retirement. It's very easy to get stuck in the common theme of your life and think, oh, here's another year. Hopefully this year is better than the last. You kind of wish, I hope this is better, but you have to change something and not be afraid of it.
You do, and like she said lastly, you have to change. Like if you want to get better and make progress every year, which that's why you're watching this video, you're going to need to change. Like different things. It doesn't mean you have to change the core of who you are, but you're going to need to change different habits that you're doing and different things that you're doing, and it's going to upset some people and all of that, which that could cause fear of change and all that, but it's also going to upset your insides to where everything on the inside of you is going to be going crazy, because our bodies and our minds and our brain, it likes repetition.
Yeah.
So once we go outside that common, habitual habits that we have, our body starts to get in this shock mode, which makes people scared of change. So that's why we put this is a tip to make the most of your year. Don't be afraid of change, because it's inevitable. You're going to have to change, actually.
Yeah, and if you are bold enough to make a change somehow, whether it's moving or getting a new job or changing relationships or whatever it may be, think that automatically, just because you're going through the fear and changing, don't think that everyone's going to support the change. Because mostly, a lot of people are in the fear mode where they don't like to see change. If they look at you and they see that you're changing, they're thinking, oh, I have to change something too, and I'm not ready for that. So let me give resistance to that person. So be aware of that too, that could come up.
Because people hate change. So like if you change, everybody in your life needs to change. I'll tell you how. Because they need to change the image in their mind of how they see you.
Yeah.
And that's part of change. And humans at the core, they hate change. So we'll just be a little blunt here. Not everybody is going to support whatever you're doing to change, and that could be on the minute level to a drastic change.
Well, they'll try to resist against the positive things that you're trying to change in your life. They'll try to put it down, or they'll make passive aggressive comment, and you gotta stick with it. It's gonna be hard, but you have to stick with it.
That's why you gotta know yourself, because then if you know yourself and your instincts, there's nothing anybody could say, because you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you have to get to that space because of this, actually.
Right. So those are 3 quick tips, but I feel like they're tips that are very powerful. If you carry them out, I'm telling you, you're going to start your year off right. And if you're listening to this halfway point throughout the year, you can still change and do these things too.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with us if you've done any of these tips and let us know your experience with them. See you next time.
See you in the next show.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.